Amendment Bill number 2 is set down for second reading forthwith.
Mr. Speaker.
I call the Honourable Minister, Tony Ryle.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the New Zealand Public Health and Disability Amendment Bill number 2 be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, it's worth taking an opportunity to set out to members exactly what this legislation does. It's part of the government's solution to the challenge proposed by the Court of Appeal under the Atkinson case. It does move the boundary between family and taxpayer responsibility with respect to the care of each other, but the government believes it lands in a fair place that balances the various interests of both those who are being cared for, those who are doing the caring, and the taxpayers in general. As I said earlier on, this bill comes to this Parliament after really 20 years of consideration by governments of both sides. We know that in 2001, when the Hill case first came to the Human Rights Tribunals, that was considered by the previous government. The previous government began a series of papers and considerations. They had a number of reports and discussions with ministers. A number of strategies were kicked on every year. And it culminated in 2008 with the Carers Strategy. And in 2007, the government considered paying family carers. And in the strategy documents that they considered in 2008, the Labor government expressly decided not to proceed with paying family carers. Shame. In April 2008, the Labor government expressly decided not to pay family carers. Shame. They were supported by Labor in that government, by Greens in that government, and Labor expressly decided not to pay family caregivers. In fact, Labor Health Minister instructed officials to oppose this case every way, every step, supported by every Labor Cabinet Minister. They instructed the ministry. Even before then, it was clear the ministry was to oppose this. They instructed the ministry to oppose the Atkinson claim every step of the way. So I know this is a political chamber, and I know that the opposition will never support any legislation that's part of a budget, but I do have to say it is galling to hear the crocodile tears from the ministers who expressly decided not to pay family carers. Expressly decided not to pay family carers. And in fact, Mrs. Dyson said this. She said, we have to have a sensible debate about what are legitimate family responsibilities, what you should do because you are a caring, loving member of the family, and then what is actually work you should get paid to do. And then when asked about paying family carers, she said top of her budget bidding list was more money for equipment services. More money for equipment services, not interested in more money for family carers. So I know we're going to get political speeches today. I know the opposition will never agree with government legislation.
Order.
But don't.
Sorry to interrupt the Minister. It's a convention here. We don't use the word lie or liar, and I'll ask the member to desist from using those phrases in the future. The Honourable Tony Ryle.
Who was it?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, OK, they won't admit it. Oh, Dyson. Oh, Dyson. The member who said family carers.
Point of order, the Honourable Enid King.
The Honourable Dyson, who was telling disability groups she thought it was important. When asked should there be family carers as the top priority, she said, as Associate Minister, that top of her budget bidding list was more money for equipment services, not family carers. So I know we're going to get the political speeches, but it is galling that the government that expressly decided not to pay family carers is now saying that, when the health budget doubled, we might have, well, they don't really say. They haven't addressed why they never paid it. The argument's been, oh, it was very complex. Well, what about the years of reports that they got? What about the years of resolutions in Cabinet? Well, it came for nothing because the Health Minister expressly instructed the ministry officials and the Crown Law to fight the Atkinson claimants every step of the way. I can advise you, Mr Speaker and the House, that this bill protects the interests of the Atkinson claimants. Those Atkinson claimants who wanted to be on an interim payment arrangement are, and those Atkinson payments who are prepared to accept back payment to the Court of Appeal decision date have been paid. There will be a remedies hearing with respect to their settlements prior to the Court of Appeal decision. So those people who wanted to be paid under this arrangement in the interim are currently being paid. So what I have to say to that, the Ministry advises that those people who wanted an interim payment have been received. I'm not going to engage with Annette King because she's the Minister in a government that expressly decided not to pay family carers. Not to pay family carers. So it's all politics today. It's all politics. So what this legislation does is it proposes that Parliament will invest $72 million over the next 4 years in order to pay wages to family carers who care for their resident adult disabled children. This addresses the crux of the claim put forward by Atkinson. The focus of this will be on the 1,600 families who we assess as having high or very high needs. And those people will be able to be qualifying under policies that will be in place from the 1st of October 2013. And that's pretty important. So policies are going to be developed, people will have the opportunity to be supported in this way. And it is a recognition from this government to respond to the Court of Appeal case, and we know that there will be many people who believe that they should be paid too. But this respects the decision of the courts, but also the long-standing tenet of governments of all colours that families are primarily responsible for each other. And that will still remain a very, very important part of this legislation. In the debate ahead, I think it's right to look at why it's taken so long for Parliament to get to this position. It's right to look at, are we striking the right balance between the interests of families, the carers and the taxpayers? And I think we are. I think we've landed in a fair place that recognises the concerns of the courts, but also makes sure that we as taxpayers are able to make a contribution that we would expect to be made in this situation. The reason why the bill is going through urgency on this day is it's because important that we not settle these matters on an individual basis before tribunals or courts. We need to have a policy in place that deals with the concerns of the courts, with the Atkinson claimants case, and proceed from there. And I know that the debate will be full of bluster from the other side, but members should remember that when they hear that bluster, they are the people in the times of plenty who decided to do nothing, expressly decided not to pay family carers, expressly decided to tell the ministry to oppose it every step of the way. So now it's 11 years of National. Look, it's all politics from Annette King. It's all politics. When she was in charge, she did nothing. And look, I know these people are currently being paid nothing, and from the 1st of October we will have a scheme in place which supports family carers for those who are caring for their disabled adult family members in a way that is respectful of the huge contribution that they are making to the care of their loved ones.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. The Honourable Ruth Dyson.